When I began to think about remembering the 10th anniversary of the terrible incidents of September 11th, 2001, I turned first to the resources that I knew had been posted on the United Church of Christ website. I opened the worship resource that had been prepared by Susan Blaine, our UCC Minister for Worship, Liturgy, and Spiritual Formation. As it happens, Susan was a minister in New York City on September 11, 2001. There, under the scripture and sermon section, I found this note. The suggested readings for today are the lectionary readings for September 11, 2011. They are stories of radical forgiveness and tolerance, woven together by Psalm 103, which insists God's ways are not our ways. I continue to be amazed at how often God gives us exactly the word that we need at the time that we need it. Listen to these words from Paul. We do not live to ourselves, and we do not die to ourselves. If we live to the Lord. If we die to the Lord. So then, whether we live or whether we die, we are the Lord's. To this end, Christ died and lived again, so that he might be Lord both of the dead and the living. And listen to the gospel from Matthew. Then Peter came and said to him, Lord, if I find that another member of the church has sinned against me, how often should I forgive? As many as 7 times. Jesus said to him, not 7 times, but 77 times. In the words of Paul, I hear 2 things. First, that we are not our own. We are responsible to God for our thoughts and actions. And second, that we are not alone. Nothing can happen to us in which God is not already there with us to sustain us and comfort us. These are important messages for me, reminding me that though these crimes may be heinous in nature, I am not given license to seek revenge or to hate others. I belong to God and must listen to God. And because I belong to God, I also have no cause for despair. Because I belong to God, I am not free to withhold my forgiveness. For all judgment belongs to God, whose ways are not our ways. We are promised comfort and sustenance. We are called to forgive even the unforgivable. And we are sent to proclaim that there is another way. It's not up to someone else to change the world. It's up to us, God's people in Pennsylvania, or wherever we live, love, and work. In her Sermon Seeds reflection for September 11th, Kate Huey, our UCC Minister for Stewardship, Scripture, and Discipleship, shares this story that was told by the popular Christian author Jim Wallace. Wallace writes, in South Africa in 1987, Nelson Mandela was still in prison, and the world thought he was there for good. School children were being killed daily by the government, and struggle seemed to be at a standstill. I met a 14-year-old boy, said Wallace, who was, like many there, organizing in elementary and high schools. I asked him if he was optimistic for the future, and he said yes. I asked him if he thought there would be a new, free South Africa someday, and he stated to me matter-of-factly, I shall see to it personally. There is simply no other alternative than for each of us to see to it personally. On September 11th, 2011, I will pray for you, my friends, as well as for those who were victimized by the terrible crime of 10 years ago. And my prayer will be the ancient peace prayer. Lead us from death to life, from falsehood to truth. Lead us from despair to hope, from fear to trust. Lead us from hate to love, from war to peace. Let peace fill our hearts. Let peace fill our world. Let peace fill our universe.